Welcome to Does It Scare, where I show you some spoiler-free gameplay and my first impressions of small indie horror games. Today we're looking at a cool retro horror game reminiscent of Resident Evil and Silent Hill. It's made by SFB Games with brothers Tom and Adam behind the company, the same people that made the Mermaid Mask. They also seem to have made a lot of other really cool looking games. But today we're looking at their most recent game, Crow Country, and there is a lot to be said about the experience it brings and how it replicates the PS1 era of horror games. So with that said, let's get right into it. Now, here's a quick introduction to the story of Crow Country. It's the year 1990. It's been 2 whole years since Edward Crow was last seen. He owns a theme park called, you guessed it, Crow Country, but it abruptly closed years ago. It's been silent, but the arrival of Mara Forrest breaks the silence, arriving at the theme park with one goal in mind: to venture into the deep unknown to find Edward Crow and most importantly find answers. And that's where the game starts. So now that you have the gist of the story, I know you're probably wondering, does this game accurately portray the old Resident Evil games from the PS1 era? And I can confirm this game does a fantastic job at bringing that feeling back. The art direction is dark and gritty with a flair of this chibi art style to the characters, and the controls have this nice clunky feeling to it. I will say, if you get this game, make sure to have a controller. The keyboard controls take a little tinkering, and even then, it's just not worth it. It's much better using a controller. You also have the option of using tank controls by using the D-pads. It's nice that they added that in for people that would want to use it, and it just enhances that old feeling of this game even more. I also love that before even starting the game, you're given 3 game modes to choose from. You have Survival, which has combat and enemies, Exploration, which gets rid of enemies altogether and focuses on exploration, and my personal favorite, which has been recently added, Hard Mode, which is a more unforgiving experience. I'm so glad they added this because I found the survival mode to be a little too forgiving, and I think a lot of others will feel the same way, so if you really want a challenging experience, I would definitely play the hard mode. Now, getting into what the gameplay is like, at the very start of the game, you have a regular pistol, you can shoot, reload, and aim with it. Aiming is a little slow and clunky, but it's not a bad clunky, it just makes the game more challenging. Your character will aim in whatever direction you're facing, which can take a little time to get used to, but when you perfect it, it's honestly so satisfying. You're also forced to stop when aiming, making the encounters with monsters more engaging. And since monsters slowly get bigger and tougher, you'll find upgrades for the pistol as well as other weapons that you find later in the game. Each of them have 2 kinds of upgrades, a damage upgrade and a laser sight attachment. You'll also find items throughout the environment that will help you survive. You'll find medkits of different sizes, giving you different amounts of health. There's also bottles of antidotes for when you're poisoned. You can even find grenades and of course ammo for your weapons. Most of these items will be in vending machines, trash cans, or just hidden around the environment, forcing you to explore. And sometimes the trash can will give you trash. I know, crazy, right? But overall, the items and weapons in this game feel good and look good. It's a lot of fun looking around in each section of the theme park. I think one of the biggest strong suits of this game has to be the environment. Everything is so well put together, and the details do a perfect job at telling a story. Each section of the theme park feels new and exciting, and I always found myself looking forward to unlocking a new section of the park. I wish I could show you guys more of the game, but I don't want to spoil it for you. All sections of the park are done so well, like they're all well designed, and I never found myself getting bored exploring. And I can't emphasize enough how much this game rewards exploration. You can find big crates and bottles that can sometimes have useful items. And of course, you'll find tons of hidden secrets. That's right, this game is jam-packed with little secrets that can help you in the game. It's usually nothing too crazy, but it can be a lot of fun searching for these. And of course, we gotta talk about the puzzles. The puzzles in this game can range from medium to hard. It'll probably take you between 5 to 6 hours to finish the game first try. But the puzzles are a lot of fun and are very satisfying when you figure it out. There is, however, one puzzle that doesn't really make sense, and I wouldn't really consider it a puzzle, just more of a trial and error. But that's just one puzzle. A lot of them were a blast to solve, and that alone was fun. But when combined with dodging monsters and deciding if you want to take them down or not, just makes it so much better. Like I said before, over time monsters will get stronger and bigger, but you can choose to kill some of the monsters early to prevent them from growing stronger. There's also traps that progressively get worse over time. First one you encounter are the bear traps, which are cool because you can lure monsters into them. You also have red barrels that can blow up when you shoot at them, creating a lot of damage. It's a really cool system that makes you think twice before going through an area. I also like as the game progresses, the lighting will slowly get darker and foggier and start raining. It keeps the environment interesting when going back and forth in the theme park. There's also save rooms similar to Resident Evil. It has everything you've collected, like hints to playing the game and clues that will help you solve a puzzle. All I can say is if you have bad memory like I do, you'll find yourself in these rooms a lot. But if you truly get stuck and have no idea what direction to head in, there's this cool fortune teller that's able to give you 10 hints throughout the game. The hints aren't too specific, but enough to get you in the right direction, which is nice. And as you progress, you come across other characters important to the story, and the dialogue between them is really fun and witty, and the endgame is also great as well. It's not the most notable part of the game, but it's still a lot of fun. One thing I did notice playing on PC though is that towards the end of the game, when there are tons of monsters on the screen, you get a little bit of stuttering. Nothing crazy, just something I noticed. It seems to happen more if you're running around, but overall, this game is a perfect love letter to 90s horror. The combination of Silent Hill-like environments and the Resident Evil-like gameplay is done so well. There are times when I actually got spooked, which I honestly didn't even expect in a game like this. The puzzles are difficult and are satisfying to solve. The monster types are interesting and scary. The music is amazing at setting the tone and immersing you in the game. And the environment is filled with horrifying character and is an art piece by itself. So because of that, Crow Country does scare. For anyone interested in this game, I highly recommend it. Right now, this is possibly one of the best indie horror games this year. You can tell a lot of passion was put into it, and I think for players that are wanting a more action-based horror game, this is the game to play. I even think for people that are more into the run and hide type of horror games would enjoy this because of the well-crafted atmosphere of Crow Country. Right now, it's $19.99 on both Steam and the PlayStation Store, and I think that price, in my opinion, is a steal for a game like this. But with that said, if there's an indie horror game that you'd like me to review, leave it down in the comments below, and make sure to stab the bell icon so you don't miss out on future reviews like this one. All that said, see you next time.